Yes. It's another beautiful day. The day of the Lord. Once more, we have an amazing guest amidst us. The man himself, an African man. And it's Impact Masters in collaboration with Africa's Talking Podcasts, bringing you live and direct African conversation covering tech ecosystem, amongst many other conversations, getting to know our guests and what is happening in Africa. Today, we are blessed to have one and only Mr. Kebaso Mokogi. A man who has done it all in telco ecosystem, from AT&T, Safaricom, Airtel, Xerox, and is a guy who has contributed immensely in the tech ecosystem, ensuring that he shares his mind and knowledge. Yes. Starting from day one. Hey, Mr. Kebaso.
Good morning.
You good?
It's still morning, right?
Yes, it's still morning. And it's good that you have graced our show. And here, by the way, we take it easy. First and foremost, welcome. It's an honor to have you here with all, what you've done across the world. And maybe for the first few, minutes, hours, possibly, we'd like to know who is Mr. Kebaso before we get now to the the technicalities, how you've contributed. We would like to know where did it all start?
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Where do I start? So, I was born in 1975.
Nice.
From a family of 10.
Ah, okay.
Big family.
That is very interesting.
So 9 sisters.
A proper African family.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. 9 sisters, and then I came at the end.
Should I say that is so controversial because you are spoiled?
I don't think
love.
so. I don't think so. Many people think so, but I don't think so.
Okay. Okay.
And I guess it's also a story of patience, with my parents, And I'm told they went to a crusade in Kisumu. There used to be a German preacher called Bonke.
I know Bonke.
Yes.
He just passed away some few months ago.
Not too long ago,
yeah.
And in that crusade, I think they said, or they prayed for number 10 to be a son,
I see.
And so I guess I'm a product of Bonke, of the crusades.
You are the miracle baby.
Yes. So I'm a product of the Bonke, but I wouldn't say I'm spoiled because dad and mom treated us all equally,
I see.
And gave everybody the same equal opportunity, especially when it came to education, love, and just attention, So everybody had. My dad passed away back in 2019.
Okay.
Mom's still here, thankfully.
Okay. Pole sana for your dad.
So, but he lived a good life. I think dad passed on when he was 94.
Oh, nice. Okay. That's a celebration.
Yes. So everybody from my elder sister, Alice, to the one I follow, Rose, everybody had a special connection or a special relationship or a special interaction with dad. So he treated us, everybody felt special. Yeah.
So he gave his full love to each and everyone equally.
Yes.
Nice.
And that's the most beautiful thing I treasure, to date, is just the upbringing, from both my parents and my siblings and just growing up. We grew up in 2 shifts, being 10 children. So, I kind of grew up with my older sisters later in life. I got to know them better.
Okay.
We became good friends later in life.
So you were, by the time you were coming to planet Earth,
Yes.
some of these guys were not part, they had gone their way.
No, they had gone. My eldest nephew, Chris, were born in the same year. I was
So
born
you
in
were
March.
like age mates?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was born in March. He was born in December.
How is that?
It's very
Does
interesting.
he refer to you as an uncle? Or?
He struggles with that.
This dude, brother, you're like playing together, grew up together. How is he, man?
We used to share the same room. We were roommates back in the US after college, you know. So went through the rituals of being men together. So we're more brothers than an uncle.
I see. So where are you from, Kebaso? Like, where was the village?
So I'm from a clan called Nyabende. Yeah. This is in Nyamira, in West Mogirango. A small village called Nyabite. Well, Nyabite has been taken over by the town now, you know.
I see.
But still, you know, we still get to enjoy, you know, the smell of tea, you know. We get to walk down to the forest that Dad planted in the 60s.
Amazing stuff.
Down to the river, you know. So it's a good spread. It's a good peaceful, you know, home.
Yeah.
So how did that become our home? So we have family spread, you know, across Kisii. So some of my relatives or Dad's brothers were in a place called Gesore. And then there were others who are also up in near Sotik, what they used to call the settlement. So because the brothers had many sons, you know, I think there was wisdom in those many years to say, you have more sons, you go take the bigger land, let's say in settlement, you know. Or you have more sons, you take the land in Gesoreo, you know. But I think what gravitated Dad to the farm in Nyabite was the mother. So the mother was the central figure in their family, you know, and she was buried there.
Okay.
So I think he kind of had an attachment, to that, you know. So I always remember when I was a kid, I never got to see some of my uncles, you know.
Okay.
Because they passed on, but there's one Uncle Moindi who was very, very close to Dad. And they had very many stories, you know. And,
you remember one?
Yes. They had very many stories. There's a time, I think, Uncle used to make me laugh. He'd say, Dad died and resurrected several times. So I think in the old days, if you fainted, they assumed you died.
I see. I get it. Yeah.
So you'd take the cows out to graze, you know, or whatever they used to do then, and maybe he was dehydrated and maybe he would die.
And then resurrect.
Yes. So there's this one time when Dad was on the other side, in, I think in the settlement, the Sotik area. And he was taking care of cows or whatever they used to do then, and I think he fainted. So they wanted to bury him. Yeah. So Uncle Moindi said, no. We have to go bury him in Nyabite. So as they were making that journey to come bury him in Nyabite, he came back alive. So there were very many funny stories. But
was it true or just stories?
No,
it was true.
It was true.
Okay,
it was true.
Yeah.
But you know, at the end of all that, sometimes they would have some quiet moments and say, you know, Baba. They used to call their mother Baba. You know, they used to remember Baba, and you know, you'd see them getting a little emotional. So I knew them. The mother was a very, very strong figure in their upbringing.
Okay.
When I came back from the US for my studies, I decided to do a family tree and get to understand where I am from, you know, a little bit more.
I see.
And so, you know, I tried to understand who was his Baba, you know, or Kemunto. I think they used to call her Kemunto. And Dad told me she was actually originally from Kipsigis. So when they would go for cattle raids, they would get the cattle, and sometimes they'd raid and come back with young
Ladies.
girls.
Yeah.
So she was from Kipsigis.
I see.
So it's a very
This is
blended
interesting.
culture and
So
blended.
let me ask now that you mention it. So if you raid there and you get ladies, of course you want to wife them, right?
Yes.
Would you go back and pay the bride price, or how would they work?
I don't think they paid bride price.
Is this stealing?
Yeah, it was. I guess it was a violent takeover, but people understood what the raids were, and people were accustomed to that. I think, and if the ladies moved into a society, I suspect they adapted to the new.
They got assimilated.
Yes, they got assimilated, and I think grandmother must have been a very powerful figure, because she pretty much ran the home and raised the children.
Nice. Interesting.
Yeah.
I never knew about that. I knew Maasais used to raid, I don't know, Kikuyus, or Kikuyus used to raid Maasais. Yes. There's kind of stories that I've heard. Now that you're talking about stories, do you know that's how Africans used to preserve their stories?
Yes.
Passing stories from generation to generation to ensure that they share the morals, the culture, and whatnot.
Yes. So that I got from dad's side. From mom's side, it's a little sketchy. They don't like talking about it.
Yeah. Maybe because you're a man. I don't know. Maybe to the ladies, your sisters may have a different account.
Yes, they don't like talking about it. So if you look at me and my sister, I resemble my dad. My sisters, most of them resemble my mom, who's very, very light-skinned.
That's very fair.
And from grandfather's side, from Bwana's side, they were all very light-skinned. So there was a story that used to be told in hushed tones. That there was a white man who was who was passing by, or who was a trader or something like that, or a Boer or something like that. So there's a big debate whether he was a Dutchman or a German. So we normally have those silent debates sometimes.
I see.
And then of course that is where mom and the family kind of got the lighter tone of the skin.
That light?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll never know. We'll never know. Nowadays, I hear men are giving a lot of dollars to the DNA testers around, and I think some of these DNA kits are being sold on the supermarkets. So, guys, relax. It's gonna be all right. I don't want to venture into that more because it's a controversial topic, but yeah. So you grew in the village?
No, not really. Not really, because my parents were career civil servants, and they moved around,
Yeah.
So moved around quite a bit. But at a young age, I went to boarding school.
Okay.
To kind of give me stability, And also that was also another interesting part, of my life.
Yes.
This is going to boarding school at a very young age, and making friends and creating a new family, within that environment.
Yeah.
I think parents today, as a parent myself, I think I would consider myself maybe a soft parent, but there was vision, and also the environment was different then. So dad took me to boarding school. I went to a school called Molo Primary.
When you say soft, did you used to get beatings or?
No. Because I think we are afraid to let our children go at an early age.
I see.
I think I might have gone to boarding school at age 8 or 9 or something like that.
That is standard one.
It was very young, yeah. And the boarding school was then it was right fresh off the British hands, So it was very well structured, in terms of routine, in terms of waking up, in terms of the meals, the meals prepared, the quality of meals.
Yeah.
In terms of the schedule of let's say laundry, the schedule of when we'd go do the entertainment or watch TV or do the arts or play piano. So it was a very, very well structured, I say, boarding school that gave us an appreciation of new things and different things. I had my first custard in boarding school. I never had custard at home, but I had custard in boarding school.
Oh, nice. Which boarding school is this? It sounds like quite a bougie.
Yes, this was Molo Primary in the 80s. It was amazing,
So
even the laundry, we had hot showers, we had a
you
laundry
guys
room.
lived a life. You guys lived a life at the primary school level.
Yeah, but more importantly, I think was the friendships. So I still have some of the same friends I had in primary school to date. And of course, with time, the quality now started going down.
Okay. The school is still there until today.
The school is still there, but it's not the same.
I see.
Then, even the bread, in the morning, they'd remove the crust. They'd cut the crust for the buds, But I think by the time I was...
You're the guy who went to primary school.
While I was leaving, when I was about to leave there, the standards had kind of gone down.
Yeah.
That now we used to go eat the crust and
the bud eat the
buds food sometimes.
And what do you think contributed to this? Because even some of our national schools are in that category right now.
So the sad part is that the quality is not sustained.
Okay.
That is, I passed by there once, I'd say 10 years ago, and I was very depressed, because we used to have huge, humongous trees, 50, 60-year-old trees, that used to create a very big shade that could cover even 50 to 100 cars, And that's where we had picnics during visiting days.
I see.
So when I went back there, I found a big building block. An administration block. I said, where are the trees?
Come on. And they were not short of land.
It was, no.
They just decided this tree.
No. You see, we sometimes get driven by money more than anything. So after a while, they started increasing capacity. Then they built a secondary school, I think, which now I think has been moved again. But the place is scattered with buildings.
Was it a private school? Oh.
Initially it was, then it became a public school, a national school.
Yeah.
So when it became a public national school is when they opened it up also to a little bit of the day scholars, because they said you must cater to also the local community. But it was an experience, I must say. It was an experience.
What is that one thing that you remember about primary school?
Closing days.
What about them?
Closing days were always fun because we had the matrons would always get us into groups and we'd do either songs or dances or plays.
Yeah.
And we'd stay up late and just have fun and pack your stuff. And the following
next
day you go home.
So it was more like a feast? Did you have like special meals,
I think there was something special,
Yeah.
There's something special about closing days,
You guys, did you participate in music festivals?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We did participate in a few. But more importantly was the activities within the schools.
Okay. Internal stuff.
Then Sundays always were in the afternoons. You'd get into your groups or houses and we'd take walks with the matrons, We'd take walks out to the forest,
Was it a mixed school or just boys?
It was a mixed school. So we had dorms for girls and we had dorms for boys. And I think we were kind of mixed, or you had to start from Keringate when there's a dorm called Keringate for boys, and then work your way up to say Mboya or whatever the other dorm is. I don't remember. So it was it was interesting. It was very interesting.
What was this special about the matrons?
The matrons were our mothers.
Oh, I see.
The matrons were our mothers. So they also had different characters, you know. And for me, I always remember there was one called Salome, who was very, very motherly and very calm, you know.
Yeah.
But she'd say something, you know, very calmly, and you'd take the instructions. Because you didn't want to get on the wrong side of Salome.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
So when she exposed the other side, you know, like it.
Yeah.
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 But she was very calm, collected.
She barely caned us. But she would just say, you know, fold your clothes or do this or go to bed, and we would go to bed.
You know, there's repercussions.
It's time
if you
to go
don't
to
do
bed.
it.
Yes.
Did you get your discipline from that school? From that engagement?
Yes. I think we got our discipline, good discipline. I'd say for most of, I can speak for my classmates too.
Yeah.
Because as you said, it was a mixed school.
Yes.
And I remember in class 8, I ran into one of my old classmates.
Yeah.
Called George K. And I reminded him of the massacre. You know, there was this famous massacre. So George K. was always ahead of the curve, you know, and a few of our friends, you know, there was one called KK, Kimathi, I remember, and a couple of them, you know, where they knew how to talk to girls at a very early.
I see. So you guys at primary school, you're already presenting your manifestos to the other gender.
Well, we learned from them.
Oh, but
he
this
started
guy
a little
was,
early, so we learned. I always tell him I learned from him.
I see.
So
but the guy
class,
was a master of the arts.
Yes. In class 8, the teachers discovered, you know, there's something brewing, you know, between the boys and the girls. And we had this big famous massacre.
The massacre, is it a beating or what?
Yeah, it was a beating, you know. So we were all lined up and told, pick your boyfriends, pick your girlfriends. Nobody moved, so we got caned, you know, until
you guys were serious.
People just started pairing up, you know, whether it was your girlfriend or not, you know, so that you...
So you'll be beaten until you get your girlfriend?
Yes.
And what did this do to you in terms of relationships?
Yeah, I think it opened up something, you know, because then you got to understand that, okay, there's something called a girlfriend. What is a girlfriend?
So for you didn't have a girlfriend then?
No, I think after the massacre, I had a girlfriend. You know?
If I was beaten for this, I have to do it.
Yes. I had a girlfriend, and
and
I had a girlfriend, and she'd ring me up over the holidays, and you know, Dad was always sitting there with his newspaper, you know, so I didn't know how to answer or respond.
So it was that serious.
Yes.
Then sounds like you also a master of this heart.
No, I learned.
By the time the lady is ringing you that much,
I also rang her.
Yeah.
I also rang her. Yeah.
But for you was when maybe there's no dad around.
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes, you know, they used to lock the phones, you know, in this little box and padlock.
Chief, you know, this story might not sound...
It might not make sense to a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you know, when you talk about ringing, they think it's a cell phone, right?
Yeah.
Whereas it's just the phone that used to have like 9 digits.
Yes.
And then you could turn one at a time until you get it.
With your finger, yes.
And this is the time people used to write their numbers on a piece of paper.
Exactly.
And they would wait until you are on holiday to call.
Yes.
Or pay phone.
Yes.
Then.
Yes.
At least that makes it. And even sometimes when we talk about payphone and call booths, people might not understand because they're no longer here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But people, I think they see them in the movies, especially.
So it opened up our eyes, you know, to, you know, relationships. And
did you end up marrying this lady?
We didn't take it seriously because I think there was more emphasis put on education. You know?
Go to school first.
Yes. So it was a good school, and I think a lot of people went through the system, you know. Did well later in life.
And I believe this lady was not from around, so there was a distance issue, right?
Yes.
There's something maybe I want us to share here so that at least people can learn one or two things around this.
Yeah.
Because there are people who think distance is an hindrance to, all these girlfriend, boyfriend, or even wife, husband.
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys used to handle it?
Well, those days you used to try to stay in touch either by writing letters or ringing, and even later in high school, I think we corresponded a little bit through letters.
Yes. You guys do used to put perfume and powder. Is it powder or powder? Powder.
Or aftershave.
Aftershave. Hey, you guys used to have aftershave in high school.
Without beards.
That's very interesting. And then, and then you used to have calligraphers.
Yes.
A guy who used to be paid some money to write for you a letter.
That guy.
Just give them the message and then they come up with the real thing.
That guy, yeah.
But when the lady comes or you meet in person and they see you write it, they're like... But also the ladies used to do the same thing. So,
yes.
Yeah.
So, another event also in high school was when the ladies used to write this. There used to be the mail day, when you'd receive the mail.
Yes, that was more like a national event.
Yes.
There's a guy who would receive 30 letters.
Yeah.
After some functions. Anyways, before we jump the gun, you graduated from Molo.
Yes.
Primary.
So I finished from Molo, then I went to Mangu High School.
And that don't just pass by,
Yeah.
If you graduate from primary school and you go to Mangu, which we know, well known as Data One.
Yes.
Right.
So you had to scrap couple of A's,
It means you did really well. Maybe, I don't know if then there was newspapers and everything. You have to appear in the top 100 guys.
Yes.
Or 1,000 rather.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
With a few of those national schools that you could go to.
Yes. So in my class, there's a gentleman, we used to give each other a very difficult time.
Yeah.
There were a few guys who used to give each other.
That is in primary school?
In primary school. Mm-hmm. So we had a healthy competition,
Yeah.
There's a gentleman called David. So, and there's also a few ladies, who also did very well. There was Jean, there was Catherine, there was Carol, there was Judy, there was King, there was Alan, Alan Joroge, I remember. Alan was also there.
Yeah.
So we had a healthy competition. But towards the end, I kind of had an idea of what needed to be done, So David is kind of spoiled my exit, by being the lead, and then I was second, I think, for
I see what you did there. So this David